Hello and welcome to this episode of Project B. Today we're going to install a boost gauge. So when we bought the cheapest WRX in Australia, the guy was nice enough to throw in a few extra parts. Two of which being a boost gauge and a water temp gauge. Now unfortunately the water temp gauge didn't come with the specific plug required to run it all, so we're just not going to put that one in, but we are going to put in the boost gauge. So today we're going to have some boosty goodness.
So I've taken the gauge pod out of the car. It did come with a Turbosmart Boost Gauge, which is great, came with the wiring, so we're going to wire that up today and plumb it in. It also came with this water temp gauge, although there's no wiring, nothing for that. So we're just going to chuck it and just fill in the holes in the gauge pod. So the first step I'm going to do is just paint. I just put a light coat of paint over the gauge pod just to clean it up because it is a bit scuffed at the moment. So in terms of tapping into one of the vacuum lines to get the PSI reading, I'm probably going to tap into this bypass valve here, into the line there. So all we have to do is just take this line off. We've got a T-piece, so we can put this into a T-piece, and then we'll just route it back through the firewall and up into the gauge. So let's get into it. So I've just finished plumbing the vacuum line into the bypass valve here. There are a couple of different other ways you can do it, different vacuum lines you can tap into, but the reason I chose this one is just because it's really easy, on top of the engine, you know. So, yep, so done that. Now we just, with all this extra line, we're going to then route it around the engine bay, making sure it's not near anything hot, and then through the firewall up into the dash and into our gauge. So yeah, routing it around the engine, we're just going to use some zip ties, just because they're nice and easy to use. So now that we've routed the vacuum line all through the engine bay and up into the where the gauge will be, I've just checked on the paint on the gauge holder and it's all set and ready to put in, so we're going to do that now. We've also in the two spots, so we're going to put the gauge in the middle of the 3-pod gauge holder, and on the two spots on each side I've just put a cap, pretty much just a piece of cardboard painted over with black, just to fill in those gaps. So yeah, now we can put it in the car and start wiring the gauge up and actually putting in the vacuum line and then give it a try. So let's go. So now we have to wire up the gauge. Luckily for us, there used to be a clock here and there's the wires still here for the clock. So all we have to do is just see which one of these wires are the power and ground wire. And then all we have to do is just, you know, splice that into the gauge wires here and see if it works. So let's get onto it.
we can see how much boost the little Rexy is putting out, and it's right around that 13 to 14 PSI mark, which is what the car comes with stock from the factory. So that's really good, nice, good, clean bill of health there. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment down below and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next Lemon to Lambo.